A while back, I've uploaded a review of a mod named Duke Nukem 3D Legacy Edition, and I mentioned that in my opinion it was the definitive way to experience Duke Nukem 3D, and also my video has reached over 4,000 views, so thank you so much guys. However, after 6 months, May 19, 2023, a new version was released, named Legacy Edition 2.0, and goddamn there were a lot of changes, and big changes at that. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about what changes were made in this new version and what are my personal thoughts. So let's find out. But before we review this wonderful mod, our amazing friend the chef Chernobog wants to create a tasty pizza for his lovely minions. But he is lacking in the confidence to do it. He says that the reason is that 92% of you people are not subscribed to Mr. John Reviews channel. He says that if you like this video and subscribe to Mr. John Reviews channel, he will gain more confidence. So make sure to like this video and subscribe to help our dark god make the best meal ever for his love cultists. Thank you. One of the biggest additions of the new version of Legacy Edition is the Episode 4 being available from the start, with the Legacy Edition sprinkles around it. For example, we have new enemies like the Blue Protector drones, the Pig Scorpion, and the Prototype Assault Commander. Now you might be thinking, what's the difference between the brown alien and the blue alien? Well, apart that the blue drone resembles this 3D model from 3D Realms that was used to make sprites, as well as some beta screenshots from the Atomic Edition, the blue variants shoot an Expander Blast as opposed to the Shrinker Blast. While not as dangerous as the Shrinker Blast, it still deals heavy damage. But that's not all. The true drones have a unique immunity. For example, the brown ones are immune to the flamethrower, whereas the blue ones are immune to the freeze thrower, which is a nice interesting addition. The Scorpion tank was actually found in the final version of the game, but it was never used in-game. However, in this mod, he's a complete menace and then some. It packs a powerful machine gun, fires napalm at you, and freeze blasts sometimes. It's a dangerous foe, but worst of all is that sometimes an elite pig cop appears from the explosion, so be careful. Another new enemy is the Sarge, which is actually the prototype version of the Assault Commander. Now, while it flies around much like its counterpart, instead of firing rockets out of their butthole, they charge at you and they will turn you into a human pancake if you're not prepared. The new version also has two new weapons. First off, we have the Sonic Resonator. If you're a Duke 3D aficionado like I am, you probably know that in Lame Duke there was a weapon sprite that looked like this and also concept art for the weapon, but that's about it. It didn't even have a HUD sprite. However, in this mod, the Sonic Resonator uses a heads-up sprite that is actually a prototype sprite for the Expander, which was initially called the Inflator weapon. Thank goodness they changed the name, because the prototype name would have given some weird fetish implications if you catch my drift. Anyways, the Sonic Resonator acts more of a pusher weapon. It emits a hypersonic wave capable of pushing the aliens so fast that when they hit a wall or another alien, they explode.
In their tongue, he is Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
But be careful, it bounces off walls too, and it will damage Duke Nukem as well. This weapon is extremely deadly against the Fat Commander duo, as they will lose their flying pads, leaving them crawling on the ground. You could shrink them of course, but Sonic Resonating them is the most hilarious way to kill them. Then we have the Laser Chainsaw, which is my favorite weapon of the mod. It basically slashes enemies like a champ, and it does have limited usage as it consumes plasma energy, but god damn it's very fun to use. It will stun every enemy when you slash them. On top of that, if they get sliced, you will receive health, armor, and weapon shards, which they will help you in a pinch. It's very similar to Doom's Eternal's chainsaw, but it's actually very fun to use. When you slash enemies, each enemy has its own animations when they get sliced, making the weapon even more interesting and fun to use. Also, there's a new difficulty setting that completely changes the game for the better, and that is See You in Hell difficulty skill.
See you in hell.
This difficulty skill changes the entire game by actually mirroring all the levels from the original game, which actually adds a lot of replayability and then some. At first this might confuse some vanilla players, but you'll get used to it eventually. Yes, it may look like the original maps, but not in your eyes. In addition, the enemies will deal 4 times the damage on you. However, some enemies like the Pickup, Enforcers, and the Battlelord, instead of hit scanning you, they will fire bullet tracers, which will make dodging the attacks easier, not by much mind you, given the amount of damage they deal. This means that you have to play very carefully and not playing like a dumbass. This skill level isn't even remotely fair for those who are new to the game. This makes them I'm good look like child's play compared to this. Fortunately, this is where the laser chainsaw really shines. First of all, you start with that weapon in every level, and let me tell you son, it will be your best friend, since like I mentioned before, killing enemies with the chainsaw grants you a lot of things, more ammo, armor, and health. The new skill level limits the amount of ammo you gain, so the laser chainsaw will always be on your side, so use it to its full potential. This makes Legacy Edition's difficulty on par with Blood's difficulty. I feel like it's much harder than its vanilla version, but not unfair, as like I said, all the weapons are pretty powerful and buffed to the point you need to use them all, know the enemy's attacks, so on and so forth, and you need to use your 4,000 years of build engine skills to its maximum power. I personally love the new difficulty skill, as it completely revamps the game for the better, from its mirror maps, the laser chainsaw, you name it. If you're a newbie and new to Duke Nukem 3D, then I recommend playing it on Come Get Some, then on Them I'm Good, and if you're good enough on these skills, then give See You in Hell a try. Trust me, you won't feel disappointed. The new version of the mod has changed a lot of things. First off, the pistol got really buffed, as it can kill an assault trooper with only 2 bullets as opposed to 5 to 6 bullets in the previous versions. I really like the increased damage output of the pistol. This makes the weapon much more viable against other enemies like the Pickup, Enforcers, and hell, even the Octobrains. Pretty good for saving ammo for other alien battles along the way. The beta shotgun also got buffed, as it reloads faster than its previous version. The double shotgun, as well as the pistol, freeze thrower, flamethrower, and the Devastator got smoother animations. The Plasma Rifle's alternative firing mode got buffed as well, as it can jip a low tier enemy with one shot, sometimes, but it's still very neat. The Devastator also got a new addition. Its alternative firing mode allows to shoot smart heat seeking rockets, which is very dope, which can dispatch several enemies with ease. Other weapons like the Shrinker, Expander also got buffed as well. If you shrink or expand them, they'll grant you bonus health or armor, not to mention that the robot troopers are very weak against the Expander, so use their weaknesses to dispatch them. Sometimes you can also jib enemies with either a pistol, a shotgun, or the Ripper, which will grant you goodies that can help you. This kinda gives a major reference to Quake, where sometimes you could jib low tier enemies with a super shotgun, which was so satisfying.
Nice.
Another addition that I liked is the ability to save babes. In the vanilla and the 1.2 version of the Legacy Edition of the game, you couldn't save the babes, but in this version you can do that, and they reward you with a lot of things like health packs, ammo, and even extra lives. Speaking of extra lives, they also got revamped and for the better. In the version 1.2 or older, you could have as many lives as you want. However, there was a huge drawback, and that was you could waste them all in a few seconds. For instance, if you got stomped by a boss, they will drain your extra lives in a second, which was very annoying. However, this time around, whenever you die, you will become invincible for only 5 seconds, which gives you time to escape in some hectic situations. Not to mention that you're limited to 10 lives at max. That's a good balancing, because having as many extra lives as you can while being invincible for 5 seconds after wasting an extra life would be broken as heck. In addition, there's a new feature that you can play user maps made by fans that you can play. But you can use the Legacy Edition features on those maps to make them refreshing and harder, of course. Oh, you can also select the music you want when playing user maps, and that is so cool. See, whenever you play community made maps, the Red Light District music will always play on almost every single map. Granted, there were some user maps that had their own music, but most of them, 98% of them, always played that music, which will get old pretty quickly.
God, it's all toilet sounds.
Some enemies also got buffed. The sentry drones no longer explode upon hitting doors, which was an interesting feature in the vanilla version. The snake drones now have smart rockets which can hurt the player a lot, and the Battlelord can sometimes deflect rockets at you, which can be a death sentence and then some.
Excuse me, what?
One new addition that the See You in Hell offers, which is only available on this skill level, is that... Now, if you don't want to get spoiled, I suggest to skip to this timeline in order to avoid spoilers, because I want you guys to experience it for yourselves. So, you've been warned. When playing the Abyss, upon reaching the alien's mothership, usually when playing on the other skill levels, the arena looks like this, which is the same as in the vanilla version. However, on the new skill level, this will look pretty different. In fact, this area is based upon the 0.99 beta version of the game. You might be thinking, okay, that's not so different, but instead of the Battlelord, there's a new sub-boss that will appear and you have to defeat him in order to proceed any further. Now, this sub-boss, sprite-wise, looks pretty identical to the Firefly Trooper from the Greasy Bastard version of Duke Nukem 3D. However, this time around, instead of shrinking himself to annoy you, he shoots napalm shit at you on top of spawning snakeheads just to piss you off. He's not that dangerous if you shoot him that far. Once he's defeated, a teleporter will spawn, which will teleport you to the moon, and there you will fight the mighty Battlelord. Then, after defeating him, a new cutscene appears, which is pretty similar to the one you would see in the vanilla version of the game.
I'm Duke Nukem, and I'm coming to get the rest of you alien bastards.
In fact, this is pretty fascinating, because during the development of the game, the battle between Duke and Battlelord would take place on occupied territory, which was actually the 5th level of episode 2 in the final version of the game, as you can see from those prototype screenshots. The creator, it's Marcolino123, somehow recreated this concept and it worked with magnificent results. One thing that I forgot to mention in the original video is that this mod also uses the 1.99 beta level layout. Here are some comparisons. Also, the game finally has polymorph support, or OpenGL for that matter. In the previous versions, you were only limited to software rendering, meaning you were only using the CPU instead of your graphics card, which, yeah, it was the most accurate graphics wise, however it was very demanding, especially when running on higher resolutions, for example 1080p or 4K. Thankfully with Polymos, this isn't an issue at all, since now you can run this game with much better frame rates among other things. Also, the game looks very colorful compared to the vanilla version. See, it actually mimics the colors from the alpha versions of the game, which is pretty neat, you would love to see it. Voxels also made an appearance in this new version, which is pretty neat, and the upscale pack looks killer as heck, as it upscales all the graphics and it does the job pretty well. It gives you a feeling that you're playing a really good remastered version of a game. Now sure, if you're a pixel purist and don't like this upscale mess, then no problem, you could disable it and as well as the voxels if you want to go for a more purist way to play Duke Nukem 3D, minus the 320 by 200 of course, because that resolution doesn't exist nowadays. Personally, I prefer the voxels but with upscaling turned off. Don't get me wrong, I like the upscaled sprites, they look good in their own right, but I'm more of a pixel purist for this type of games. You could also alter some game settings. For example, if you want your pistol to be automatic or not, remove the kick buff effect, game hints, and even the weapon recoil for those who want more of a realistic experience. I myself don't really like the weapon recoil effect. It interferes with my aiming if I'm being honest, but at least we can turn it off. The scoring system was also revamped. Now you can also jib dead bodies, which if you jib them all in a level, the next level you play, you either get a rocket, a pipe bomb, or even a health pack. In addition to that, if you wreck the entire level, whether blowing up walls, objects, and even enemies, there's a great chance that you get some armor or steroids. But wait, there is more! If you get all the kills, secrets, jib all the dead bodies, and wreck the entire level on "damn I'm good" or "see you in hell" modes, you'll keep your weapons intact, ammo and all. What about completing a level without taking damage? Well, you could do that as well. In the previous versions, you could complete a level without getting hit, but it was way harder than in the newer version. In this version, your score point will not get depleted if you get hit, so long as you have armor. If you complete a level with no damage, you'll get an extra life and an atomic health. So if you want to have your score very high, master the entire core of the game, learn the level layouts, enemy placements, explore all the secrets, you name it, and you'll be gold. As for the bosses, except for the Cycloid Emperor, which remains unchanged, got buffed in some way or another. For example, the Battlelord, he will shoot a wall that will cause you to wear the spacesuit, and you need to kill him fast, otherwise you're screwed if your spacesuit gets depleted. In the Alien Queen level, when you arrive at the end of the level, you come across this room, which the Alien Queen resides there, and you need to destroy these things. Then you deal enough damage to her, she'll run away to the area that you usually fight her in the vanilla version of the game. And the underwater section, good lord, is even more intense, but not that difficult. She'll shoot plasma and psychic shit at you, and when she's low in health, she'll go ape shit at you. Honestly, the battle against the Queen wasn't that hard. I still think that the Cycloid was the hardest to fight. Oddly enough, in this mod, the Battlelord was actually the easiest out of the 4 bosses. In the vanilla version of the game, he was the strongest and the baddest of them all, due to his hit scanning shenanigans. And finally, a special version of Mapsphere 32 is included as well. It's a program that allows you to create Duke Nukem 3D levels. That means that a person with an experience of 4,000 years of build engine skills can actually recreate some of the maps from the alpha versions of the game. Now that's freaking neat, or even original levels exclusively for this mod if the former isn't possible. I feel like that this version easily makes Legacy Edition from great to perfect, as I feel like this is what a remastered version of Duke Nukem 3D should have been, not this fucking greasy trash that Greasy Bastard and Gearbox released. Everything that could have been improved was improved big time. Everything from new additions like episode 4, the new difficulty scale, which I fucking love it, new balancing changes, and many others. I feel like its Marcolino 123 has made an atomic masterpiece, pardon the pun. I feel like that is the definitive way to play Duke Nukem 3D in my honest opinion. Now, you ladies might be thinking, but John, there are mods like Alien Armageddon, Duke Plus, and Kick-Ass Edition. Aren't these the best way to play Duke Nukem 3D? Well, my dear viewer, I'm glad that you asked. In my humble opinion, while I do think that these mods are amazing in their own right, I do think that these mods take away the vanilla experience and make the game way too overkill for my taste, but that's just my opinion. Legacy Edition, on the other hand, actually enhances the vanilla experience by 10 times, and it does with wonderful results, and it's actually a love letter for the Duke Nukem 3D fans. However, I have one confession to make, and that is, I've played this newer version way before you guys did. See, I was one of the beta testers for the new version of this mod, or the only one for that matter. One day, it's Marcolino123, or Marcos for short, asked me if I could be a beta tester for this mod, and I said, hell yeah! Then, on April 1st, he gave me the beta versions of this mod to test it to see if there were any problems. And before you ask, no, this wasn't an April Fool's joke, this was actually legitimate. I played this mod for the first time and beat it in one day, recorded all the footage to show him if there were any bugs or issues, and I showed him all the footage I've recorded. I had like 39 videos, the same amount of levels that Duke Nukem 3D had. I did this in one day and I took a big rest. Then, between April 1st to May 19th, he gave me updated beta versions of the mod that had bugs fixed thanks to my recorded footage that he has seen at the time, and he even made some gameplay changes based on the feedback that I gave to him. Hell, I even helped him fixing the Steam Deck version of the mod. We spent hours and hours trying to fix that version. I have sent log files to him, and eventually later on, we did fix the Steam Deck version. It was a very tough work for us, but it was very rewarding in the end. And I want to give a huge thank you to Marcos for letting me beta testing his wonderful mod and creating one of the best Duke Nukem 3D mods ever made. And a big fuck you to Greasy Bastard and Gearbox for not letting the folks from 3D Realms and Duke 4 releasing the prototypes of Duke Nukem 3D. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more content. And let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this new version of the Legacy Edition? Whatever it is, let me know in the comments below. And that's all folks, see you next time.